Hey everybody, welcome back to Sugar Shane's Sweet Life. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Just to give you a quick gist or an update of what I've been doing. I can't even remember if I discussed it in my last video, but I was living with my friend Jacoby in this college dorm setting, basically, which has a common area and 4 rooms, and my friend Jacoby only had one of the rooms. All the other rooms were open and vacant, basically. So when I got there, I was like, this is awesome. It came with a bed, came with a dresser, came with a desk, bathroom, shower, all that. Each individual room had each setup like that. So I probably stayed there from the start of the pandemic, I would say sometime around mid-March, April, all the way until August before getting caught, basically. Well, no, that is what happened. Yeah, I got caught. Basically, they sent painters by to paint the rooms and stuff like that. I guess they were getting it ready for the college semester that was about to happen. Basically, I was squatting there the whole time. Nobody knew that I was living there. So I got a little too comfortable with it. I set my computer stuff up, my work equipment up, put sheets on the bed, started bringing my, products and bathroom products and things like that into the shower and stuff like that, towels, and just kind of made it more of a living circumstance because, like I said, I got comfortable. I didn't realize that this was going to happen. I didn't even think about it, really. I didn't plan for it. I thought that they would knock on the doors and stuff like that and let you know that they were coming, but no, they would just show up randomly at random times. I'd be working and somebody would show up, so I would lock the door. And so if a maintenance person came by, they couldn't get in. And if they did, they would unlock the door, and then they would see that I was living in there and they didn't do anything. I guess they just thought I was a resident. They don't know, they don't have an idea of like who's in all the rooms. Actually, I think that they do. They have beforehand, they realize what they need to do to paint each room. They're probably on a list. There's probably 3 rooms out of the 4 that they know that Jacoby was living in one of them, and that 3 out of the rooms needed to be painted for the upcoming semester and inspected. But since I was living in one of them, like the maintenance guy I was like, do you need me to move my stuff? Like, do you need me to get out of here so you can paint? He's like, oh, no, we're not painting if you're living in there or whatever. He spoke broken English. I didn't think that, but he probably went back and communicated that, hey, someone's in that room, And this happened on like a Friday night that they sent them by to paint. And Monday morning, I get a knock on my door. I get management knocks on the door, says management, and then they come in through the main door, through the main, whatever, and then they come up to my room and they knock, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I couldn't get my stuff out in time, so I, open the door, and I'm like, hey, how are you? And she's like, who are you? Like, this room is supposed to be vacant. And mind you, I'm telling this story because this was like back in August, and I'm reporting to you guys now in February, right? So she's like, who are you? And I give her like the worst name. I'm like, damn, Lewis Jones. I say I'm Lewis Jones. And she's like, oh, because I didn't know that you moved in here. How long have you been staying here? I said, about a week. And she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then she was like, all right, well, you have a great day. And then she left. But I knew what she was doing. Obviously, I knew that she's going to go back to the office to check to make sure there's no Lewis Jones that's staying in this one apartment that's supposed to be vacant. So I'm like hustling ass to basically get all my shit and take it outside because, I don't want them to call the cops on me, and that was a possibility. She could have called the cops on me while I'm trying to hustle and get all my stuff out. And like I said, since I got comfortable, I had too much stuff in there, so I'm like throwing stuff in bags. I'm like trying to hide stuff. I'm putting stuff in my friend Jacoby's room because I figure they're not going to go in there, so I'm like storing some stuff in there. I was like, I'll come back later if I got to get it. I was just doing the best that I could. Sure enough, as I'm in the process of doing this, she knocks on the door again, says management on the outside door. So I'm like, all right, she already knows I'm here. I couldn't even see. I don't even think they had like a peephole basically. But I opened the door and she's with another dude that works there, and they're like, she asked me, so there's no Lewis Jones that's in this room. Who let you in here? I look her dead in the face and I'm like, Rebecca. And she looks at the person that she's with, the guy that she's with. She's like, they both look at each other and they're like, there's no Rebecca that works here. And then they look back at me. They're like, can we see some ID? And I'm like, oh, I don't have any ID on me. I don't have any ID on me. Both looking at me like, all right. So I'm like, kind of like going back to my room to basically try to get more of my stuff out of there, basically to hustle a little bit. And they're like, so are you going to get your ID? And I'm like, oh no, I don't have it on there. I don't have it on me. And they're like, well, are you going to get out of this room then? And I'm like, yeah, and they're like, all right, we'll give you a half hour. So they were cool about it. So basically I had to get all my stuff out and just pack it all in my car. Didn't really have a place to stay after that. And, you know, I'm thankful for Jacoby for allowing me to do that. I didn't want to get him involved at all. Like, I didn't want to say his name during that process. So I was like really trying to just keep it like on me. But I think what I probably could have did is if I just kept my stuff in the main lobby area, the main area, if I would have just kept my stuff in there, I'd have been all right. And if they did come in and the room was empty, you know, if they did come in and say, who are you? I'm saying, I'm just Jacoby's friend. I'm just visiting for the day, you know, and that I would have been fine. I'd have been fine. It just got weird with the room situation. And like I said, I was not trying to get Jacoby in trouble by saying that I knew him and that I was a friend with him, because he can get fined, he can get evicted and stuff like that. So that would have been a whole, you know, mess that I didn't want for Jacoby. So basically I tried to leave his name out of it. So then I went out for a while basically, and then I was thinking, well, they're not going to come back at night. So I started to do it again. I told Jacoby about it, and I started to come, you know, like at the nighttime just to sleep, and I kept minimal stuff in the room. And then one day, I don't know what made me do it, but I was working in the main lobby area, basically. I don't forget what it's called. What do they call them? Said it earlier in the video, but spacing my mind out every time. But so I set up my main computer equipment and it was working. Like, it was working like that for like probably another week or two or something like that. And then I don't know what made me do it. I had to use the bathroom. Instead, I was using Jacoby's bathroom the whole time just in case something like that happened, or anytime a maintenance person would come by to check on one of the rooms or whatever, I would go hide in Jacoby's room, and I would hide in the bathroom basically, because I didn't want anybody to report back, oh, he's still on the premises. How stupid. Once again, I got comfortable. I don't know, it was about 10 o'clock in the morning. I was thinking that nobody was really going to come by. I had to use the bathroom. I don't know why. I guess I just didn't want to use Jacoby's bathroom, you know, for whatever reason. I don't know why. I went into my old room basically to use the bathroom real quick. As I'm using the bathroom, like mid-pee, I hear the management. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, so I'm like trying to hurry it up and stuff like that, jiggle it out, pull it up, basically, and get the hell out of there. And right as I'm opening the door to get out of the room, she's there and she's like, you're still here? You know? And I was just like, ah. So I explained to her my situation. I tried to give her the sob story of, hey, it's COVID. You know, whatever, like I got displaced, I'm only staying like a day or so. Had to explain that, you know, like, because she was just looking at me like, you don't start saying stuff like the truth here, I'm gonna call the cops type of stuff. And then I'm just like, all right, well, like I just basically explained the truth, explained how I knew Jacoby and stuff, like how he's my friend or whatever. And she was pretty understanding about it. And she could have did something right then and there that day, but she was like, well, if you become a resident with us, this wouldn't be a problem. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I have money. I could easily do that. I looked into it. I legit looked into it to see, but they were charging so much for one room. I was just like, I don't see the point. And then with the whole pandemic, I wasn't sure if I was going to have to break that lease. And they were like, well, you could sublease it, but then it's like, then I have to find somebody else to rent my room. And I was like, I got to eventually go back to Charlotte to do my job whenever they call me to come back. So, I mean, it was just like, damn, well, I don't want to do that either. So I lied to her. I said I'll look into it and stuff, and I said I was thinking about it. And basically, that just gave me enough time to just get the hell out of there. So, I can't go back there as a result, or else Jacoby would get in trouble. She was pretty stern with that, you know, and basically I don't want to get Jacoby in trouble. I thought she might be understanding, like, if I was just to say that I was just visiting, but it just looked weird at this point, because basically they can get me for breaking and entering. Like, how did you get back in here when we told you to get off, you know, and we locked the doors and stuff like that? So she obviously knew something was up. So unfortunately I had to bring his name into it, just because I got greedy. I was so apologetic to Jacoby, man. I was like really sorry about it. I just felt terrible. I was like, man, I just got greedy with it. I really wanted to stay in Jacksonville, Florida at the time, and where Jacoby stayed was about 10 minutes away from the beach, which was beautiful. So, you know, I ruined that situation, basically, and that was a good living situation. So, as a result, I had to find a place to stay. I had to leave Jacksonville, Florida. I had a buddy of mine that I explained the situation. I didn't even think that he was going to do this, but he said, hey, you can come stay with me. And I was like, wow. This is my friend Andrew, who stays Rockledge, Florida, basically, like right outside of like Cocoa Beach, like pretty much near Cocoa Beach. And I was like, okay. So basically just packed up my stuff, went there, and to give it an explanation, like, he's living at home with his family, but his family has a house in New Mexico, and I guess they only come to the Orlando, like, well, not Orlando, but yeah, it's basically the Orlando house. We'll just call it that because that's right by Orlando. But basically they come to that house only like during the cold season, I guess, in New Mexico, to get away from like snowbird type stuff. So they weren't there, so it was just me and Andrew and just chilling every day and stuff like that. And it was just like a nice setup. I had my own room, you know, and bathroom and stuff like that. So it was just, felt the comfort of living at home, and just had a good time with my friend Andrew. It was just cool to just hang out with him and see how he lives and does life, you know. And basically I did that from, I would say, late August, until I lived with him until, give me a second here, till the end of October. That's when his parents were coming by. And so basically I had to get out of there. But I had a great time. I was just going to Cocoa Beach, and there's a couple spots in Cocoa Beach that are pretty good. If you're ever in Cocoa Beach, there's this, I don't really hang out in strip clubs like this, but there's this strip club called the Inner Room, which doesn't really feel like a strip club. It feels like more like a bar. You just meet some interesting people there, though. Some real interesting stories. Some people, like, I didn't know anybody. I just walked in, just start talking to people, have good conversations with people. It felt like everyone was just sharing their story with me, and a little bit too much probably than to be sharing with a stranger. I'm like, wow, you know, that type. And I'm not going to get into a long story about all the stuff that they told me. I mean, that would take too long of a video. But it was the Inner Room, basically. It's pretty decently priced drinks and stuff, and then you have strippers like in the background as like, kind of like, it's just like background. It's like nice to see a naked girl every once in a while, but you're in there and it's more like hanging out like a bar. And like, I guess they kind of need the service and stuff like that. You know, but they have great customer service, especially the manager. I forget his name, but he's a clean cut type of dude, tall guy, kind of a buff guy or whatever. And like, I forget his name, but goddamn, that was just so long ago, back in October, right? We're already in February. But man, he'd be giving me like free drink passes and stuff like that. He'd want me to keep coming back. And it worked, because I was going back like every weekend. And it wasn't even like I was spending money on strippers or nothing. Just drinking and having a good time and just talking to people. And then there's a place that's not too far from it. And again, it spaced my mind. I should do this research before I start these videos. I just kind of just go off once I just start the video. But man, there's this place that's open from like 7 a.m. until about 4 a.m. and they serve alcohol all day. It's like probably an alcoholic's dream right there, because you can go there any type of day and somebody's inside of there. I mean, and so again, like 7 a.m., it's like a long building too, and it's not too far away from the inner room. I don't know. You would know it if you just probably ask around. I'd have to look it up. Maybe I'll look it up and put it in this video. But yeah, they stay open from 7 a.m. till about 4 a.m. So they're only closed for like 3 hours. So that was cool. Cocoa Beach was a great time. I had a lot of fun there. But then yeah, when I had to go, I had to find another place to stay. So I hit up my boy Frankie. He stays in Northport, Florida. Northport, Florida. And that's by Port Charlotte. To give you a gist, that's Sarasota area. That's like an hour and 20 minutes away from Tampa. Probably about an hour away from St. Petersburg. Just to give you a gist of where that's at along the Gulf Coast there. And so just staying with my boy Frankie, and I mean, he drinks way more than me. I couldn't even keep up with him after a while. I mean, I was like, man, I got to get back to my own routine. And I'm mainly just a weekend drinker, probably just your average normal adult, but probably overindulge a little bit more than I should on weekends. But yeah, with him, I couldn't keep up with him. He would be like every day. And I'm like, no. And he's younger than me, so maybe that's it. I try to tell him, I say, Frankie, I'm 33. I said, I'm getting older. I said, I don't drink every day like I was in college, you know? So he'd always, be making fun of me and stuff like that. But long story short, stay with Frankie, man. Frankie's my boy. Grew up with him pretty much. He's only a couple years younger than me. He's basically family. So it was just cool to have that. And he had a 2-bedroom, 2 baths, so it was great. So I got the other room and the other bathroom, and just chip in when you can, and basically go food shopping, keep him in mind, stuff like that. When you're shopping, obviously, hey, buy some, like my food is your food, etc. So any favor that you needed, I'll do it for you. Obviously, you're doing me a solid. Kept a roof over my head and stuff like that. And it's like I said, I'm sitting in limbo. I'm like, all right, well, eventually I gotta go back to Charlotte, and when they're gonna open this office, and they kind of just keep stringing you along. I haven't really been watching the news, but when I do watch the news, I'm hearing how all these new cases and virus and strains and stuff. So I just come to the point to realize this ain't happening anytime soon. I said I might not go back to the office until 2022 is what I'm thinking. And even then, that seems like you gotta wait for all these vaccines and stuff. So it just creates a confusion. So I'm just kind of sitting in limbo, and it's like, man, I don't want to lease anything. And my goal really is to stack up and save as much money as possible. Yes, I have the money. Yes, I could rent a place out. But I'm just trying to do it in the cost-efficient manner. I have plans for my money. I'm not going to tell you what those plans are, but I have plans for what I'm trying to do. So I just need to stack up as much of it as I can, but also live life and enjoy things as well. So I mean, this is really just a video just to give you guys an update of where I've been. It's already carried on too long. It's almost at 19 minutes right now, or maybe less. I'm about to do some edits, obviously, because I really didn't have nothing planned when I came in to started talking. But really, this is just to give you a gist of where I've been living and what I've been doing the past couple months. Mainly just a lot of hanging out with friends, a lot of living with people, a lot of adapting to the way different people live, which I find interesting. Give me a couple ideas for things that I might do in the future, and maybe be on the lookout for that. But I mean, just living with three different friends of mine that all have 3 different personalities and 3 different ways of doing things has been eye-opening. And I hate to toot my own horn too, but I feel like I adapt to each one of them too, and the way that they do things, and just try to, not be a burden to anybody really, and try to, bring something to their life as well, So I did some, I already did paintings for Jacoby. I did portraits for him, and his son. And then for my friend Andrew, he liked Emmett Smith, so I did an Emmett Smith painting. I'll show you that right now. And also I did 3 paintings in total for my friend Frankie. He likes the New York Giants, so I did the Super Bowl, escape, the pass, the catch, and the celebration. And I'll show you that right now. And also I did, this is around Christmas time, Frankie has a great grandfather that might as well have just been his grandfather, and he really looked up to him. It's like he always speaks highly of him. You could tell he really loved him. So I just thought it'd be nice to, there's this cool picture of Frankie and his grandfather as a little kid, and I'll show you that right now. All right. And basically I'm sorry, I'm just daydreaming for a second there, but it's just a cool picture. I thought it was the coolest picture, so I decided to make it a painting, something that he could always have and look at and cherish and stuff like that. And I did it, and he loved it. Let's just say he loved it, and it made me feel so good inside. It made me feel so good. I said, man, this is my purpose here, man, in a sense. Like, just to use my talents, just to make others feel good. It ain't all about money. It's not about the money, and yes, I can make money, but saying, take care of my people first, my friends and my family. When I give you something that I created, it's like I gave you a baby. You know what I'm saying? So it made me feel good. And then I had another friend, like during this time for the holidays, I ended up going back to Jacksonville, Florida, and just took some time off and just went back there to visit some friends. And a girlfriend of mine, well, she's not a girlfriend or anything like that, but just a friend of mine. We've never been like that, but met a friend through work, a co-worker of mine, met up with her and stuff like that. And I was at her new apartment, and she was expecting a baby, right? And when I showed up, I didn't see a baby bump anymore. I didn't ask anything, but she asked me how I was doing and stuff, kind of explained what I've been going through, what I've been doing and whatnot. And then I asked how you were doing, and she told me that she lost the baby, and it's like she just explained it from start to finish as what she went through, what everything happened, and you could tell she was just beating herself up about it. And I was like, it's like, what do you say to stuff like that, man? So it just really played on my emotion too at the time. Like, I started getting teary-eyed, like, while she's telling me all this, because I put myself in that shoes. I try to put myself in her shoes to really understand, and I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine if I had a girlfriend or whatever that was going through that. What could I do to be supportive of that? Like, what would I do? Or if I was a female as well going through something like that, knowing that you're carrying this baby in your body and you think that everything is going to be okay, and then one day it's just a premature birth, and then the baby dies. And I mean, I think the baby was born at like 5-6 months, so that's real premature, and I guess they couldn't do anything. So she was upset, obviously. I was like, all I could do was just give her, just to say, man, I'm sorry to hear that, and it's like, it doesn't help anything. I'm sure that doesn't make her feel better, but what do you say in a situation like that? What do you do to make somebody feel better about it? There's nothing. It's just a raw deal. It's a raw deal. There's nothing you could do. I could just give her my support, say, like, there's this quote, it's like, the path from inner turmoil begins with a friendly ear. Like, my ear is here if you need it. Basically is what I basically told her in a roundabout way. It's like, yo, I'm here if you need me. Like, just give me a call. You feel sad or something like that, I'm here. All right. But she's a strong girl. That girl right there, I ain't gonna hear from her about that. She ain't gonna, she keep that stuff to herself. But just to let her know, like, hey, I support you. I'm sorry what you're going through. I support you. But she asked me to do a portrait of her and the baby, and I was like, ooh, I was like, ooh. So let me think about that. And that's not when I was with her. She texted me later on asking me if I could do that. And I explained to her, I said, do you have pictures or anything of you holding the baby? And I was like, ooh, it's cringy to ask that. And she's like, because who would take a picture of that while she's holding a baby that's lifeless? And she said, no. Usually I need kind of pictures to work off of to be inspired to get the idea of how her arm looks, to try to make it look more realistic. Otherwise, I'm just making it up. It's like, and I'm just going off of what I think. I'm talented, but I'm not that talented. So still need to work on that a little bit better. But basically, like I just came to decided to do something different for her. Like I didn't feel comfortable doing that, and to do a portrait of, a newborn baby and stuff, like, would that have looked good? And you got to think about your own art. It's like, yeah, I could have did it, but when you're walking into somebody's house and they see it, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it. Made me feel uncomfortable though. I was like, just to think about what it is I'm painting. I'm painting a picture of something that's not living, which I've never done before. But I came to a solid, solution to it. So I designed, like, basically made this baby that's laying down and has its wings wrapped around it. And I found a nice quote on the internet as a poem. I didn't come up with this poem. I don't want to take credit for that. I don't want to take credit for that, but basically, well, I'll go ahead and show you guys right now what I made for her. So go ahead and check this out. And so as you can see, it was just a respectful painting, and she really enjoyed it. I initially made it purple. This was the original. And now, like, as you could see, I'm sorry, let me start over. She wanted me to incorporate the baby's birthstone, so she said, can you make it green? And I was like, I had already laid the purple down. I thought purple was more of a relaxing color, soothing, and kind of like, since it was a girl, I thought it more would work with that. But she wanted me to paint it green. Like, I don't think she realized that I had drew it out. And she said that first. She's like, wait, you didn't do computer images for that? Like, you painted that? And I was like, yes. So she was impressed. And so basically I explained to her, I said, for me to try to make it all, a different color, I'd have to repaint it white and then basically start over and then paint it a new color. And then how much of that purple is really going to get covered? So it was like a whole process, and I was just like, I'd have to spend more time on that too. So I came to a solid solution with that, and then I basically made it, made the inside of the wing green, to solidify the baby's birthstone. And she was happy with that. She was pleased with that. So I did that, and I went ahead and mailed it out to her, and she said it looks even better in person. So that made me feel good. So she could always have something to remember her baby by, which she's always going to remember her baby by anyway, but I'm saying something in her house basically where she could hang it on the wall and just always, remember, and something that kind of makes her feel probably more at peace, like her baby's resting. And the poem explains it best, I feel too. It's like she was just too beautiful for Earth. She was too beautiful for Earth. She wasn't meant to be here. And sometimes with all this craziness that's going on, the coronavirus, economy, and how things are looking and stuff, it make you think like, man, that baby probably, too beautiful for Earth and don't have time to deal with none of this bullshit, for real, sometimes. Depending on how you look at it, I mean, it's not dire for me, but it's for other people that are losing their businesses, their jobs, and things like that because things are lockdowns and closed downs and whatever. It's making it difficult, or people losing loved ones. Just a weird situation that everybody's probably had enough of. But really, let me wrap this video up. My videos always end up becoming pretty long because I kind of go in thinking I'm gonna only talk about one thing, and then I just kind of ramble on about other things as well. But it's really just to give you a gist. And it's okay that this video has been this long because I haven't been putting out any content anyway. I can't even tell you the last time I put out my last video. I think it was probably my birthday when I went skydiving, which was in May. So we're now in February of 2021. And basically it just gave you a long gist, and there was so many other details and stories and things that I could probably tell you that happened between now and then, but the way my memory is set up, sometimes I could just only give you the gist, the bits and pieces, and sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that. That's right, I did do that. I need to be better in doing more content, but it takes time to do these videos, and really just been, you know, bouncing around, living with friends, painting art here and there, and working remote and trying to go to the beach and stuff like that. It's a little chilly weather in Florida, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, and basically I'll start another video basically just to chop this video up, just to explain where I'm at now and why I'm doing a new video and what I'm up to. So be on the lookout for that second video. This first video was just to give you a gist of what I've been up to in these how many months that you guys haven't watched me. So anyway, if you're watching and you continue to watch, cool, thank you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next episode.